Warning: this episode contains highly controversial views, explicit content, and some harsh truths, which some listeners may find offensive. If you are one of these people, I urge you to stop listening now, you snowflakes.
I'm gonna have a little talk with Jesus when I get home tonight. I'm gonna tell him all about my troubles, and I know he'll make them right. Then I'll ask him to forgive me for the things that I've done wrong. I'm gonna have a little talk with Jesus tonight when I get home.
Okay, welcome to the last episode, episode 5 of the series of Broflation, the season finale. Now, you already should have figured out, my name is Davo, and with me is my panelist, Bradley. Bradley, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, very good afternoon to you all on this fine sunny day. A little bit breezy, but that's the perfect combination, just how we like it, because usually when it gets hot in this country, it's very humid. But anyway, this is our most controversial episode yet. We decided to leave the best one till last. I'm a bit like that with my food. People ask me when I have steak and chips and vegetables. They see me starting with the vegetables. They're thinking, why aren't you eating your steak? I said, best till last. So that's how I live my life. So this, in case you're wondering what the intro song was all about, what does it have to do with relationships and dating? Well, this episode, if you haven't already guessed, is about religion within relationships, specifically same religion relationships. For example, a Christian marrying a Christian, a Muslim marrying a Muslim, Hindu marrying a Hindu, etc. Do they work? Is it more convenient to marry with inside your own faith? If it's not working for you, should you marry outside your religion and broaden your options? Is there too much pressure on people to marry only someone of their own religion? So, before we get into the main part of it, my ultimate view is that I'm not against it, but I'm not for it either. It's all about individual circumstances, and no one should feel pressurized either way. But we'll start with why some people would want to marry within their religion. I suppose there's that familiarity, being with your own kind. It's all you've known, perhaps. As well, there's less of a culture clash because you're sticking to one religion. And when the children grow up, they're not going to be confused as to what their identity is. As well, some religions are a minority in the world and are dying out. So people want to keep the faith and keep the religion going, which is understandable because we ultimately believe that every religion has a right to exist. And we believe in equality and we are fully tolerant. But the reality is that it doesn't always work for you. And there are plenty of cons of trying to marry within your religion, and it doesn't work for everyone. And people are often ostracized for doing this by people of their community, which I think is grossly unfair. So my issue is that, which I've experienced, is that some people of the same religion get too comfortable and too familiar with their own and are not afraid to mistreat others, knowing that there will be no repercussions because they think, oh, I'm with my own kind, we're not going to hurt each other. Whereas if they behave like that towards someone who they consider strange, alien, they would be too scared. They're not sure of what they're capable of because there's that lack of familiarity. Now, it all goes back to sort of being in the bubble where some religions they feel protected because they're sort of cocooned inside their own community and they don't meet people from other faiths. They're not mixing, which I think is a problem going out into the real world, and you're not being socialized properly. So when you see people of other faiths, when you go to university or you go to work, you're not going to know what to say to them. And some people, they just tend to stick together and not really know the real world and understand cultures. For example, I'm against single faith schools. You often see a lot of cases of bullying at single faith schools where staff and teachers refuse to act because they're afraid it's going to give the religion a bad name if it gets out into the wider world. Now, I know people at single faith schools who experienced bullying and they had to take matters into their own hands, and thankfully they were left alone afterwards. But unfortunately, not everyone has the luxury of being able to defend themselves. And then there's cases of paedophilia within these religions, which the communities do their utmost to cover up rather than going to the police and bringing these paedophiles to justice, which I think is absolutely sickening. And then you have cases of rape, which are unreported. So before people tell me I'm a misogynist because I host a dating profile and I'm a man, I completely condemn and abhor the abuse of women, and you see it happening a lot in ultra religious communities. I actually think anyone who can treat a woman like that should have their private parts cut off. It's very serious. I actually think it should carry a similar, if not a worse, punishment than murder. Like in ultra religious communities, especially, it's a problem. So I know a man and a daughter who were in a ultra religious community. The daughter was being beaten up by the husband, and the man went to the senior members of that community and they tried to put a stop to it, but they dismissed him. They didn't want to know. So this man and the daughter ran away during the night and moved to another country. And another problem is that a lot of these religious people and communities who stick together, they're quite interbred in more ways than one. I'm not sure if it's healthy from a scientific perspective, but I don't know. But they tend to stick together and not understand each other's cultures, which can lead to a lot of tension, friction. You talk about religion being the cause of wars, and you want there to be peace. Again, I feel that people of the same faith take advantage of each other. They're not going to badmouth their own religion to the world. A person is likely to be more nervous around someone of another religion due to fear of giving a bad name and tarnishing the reputation. Let's say, for example, a Sikh and a Christian go on a date. Let's say the Christian behaves badly towards the Sikh. The Christian may be scared that the Sikh could then go to the rest of the world and say Christians are really bad people. Don't date a Christian. And equally, a Sikh could, a Christian could be treated badly by a Sikh, and the Christian could say never date a Sikh. They're bad people. So, people are not going to do that to their own religion. If, let's say, a Christian and a Christian go on a date and one behaves badly towards the other, then it's very unlikely that they're going to hate their own religion and want to tell the world that, and give another reason for someone to hate their religion, especially if you're a minority. But the way people of my religion have treated me, they'd be too scared to treat someone else like that due to lack of familiarity and potentially fear that that person could track them down and attack them or stalk them and get very abusive, because that they kind of think, well, yeah, he's my own kind, he's not going to do anything, and I know him well, or I know what people of our religion are capable of. I also think a problem when you're pursuing a relationship within your religion, especially someone secular like us who are not particularly religious. A lot of religions judge their own, especially if you're not a face of the community, you're not part of the in crowd, and you don't have many mutual friends. So sometimes it seems like it's more of a popularity contest rather than genuine love. It's all about status, who you are, who do you know, and if you don't know this one or that one, then you're not part of us, and we don't want to know you. I mean, Bradley, how do you feel? Have you experienced any of this before?
I haven't. I have actually been on dates with girls who are my religion, and our religion. I haven't actually been on date. I haven't actually. I've been on one who isn't. I've been on one date who isn't my religion. But I think it's also how, because I went to my school when I was growing up. I think it's also how you grow up, because my secondary school, what I went to, wasn't my religion. It wasn't a school which was just my religion. It was other religions
So
as
it was
well.
mixed faiths.
Yeah. So when you're growing up, you make friends with the different religion, and it's how you socialize with them, and it kind of, if you go to a school which is just one religion, it's very hard to come out afterwards and socialize with other religions afterwards. So it's all about growing up as well.
Yeah, and I think some people will take that for granted if they've been to a single faith school. So, when I match with people of the same religion as I am, people tend to try and look you up on Instagram. Sometimes I connect my Instagram to my dating profile to make it look like extra bit legitimate, even though I verify my pictures anyway, and do the verification process. But it just adds an extra step. So a lot of them will abuse that, and they'll look at my Instagram and think, well, we haven't got any mutual followers. He hasn't got many followers himself. So yeah, he's not good enough for me, and I can do better. And he's a loser. He's a nobody. Who is he? So it's a sign of the times. I mean, I don't know that they're all doing that, but I can I have a good idea that's what a lot of them do, because the conversation could be going well. The conversation would have only just started. Next thing you know, you've been unmatched, or they've ghosted you, or when if you do get lucky enough to get their number and you arrange to see them, all of a sudden, I'm not ready to date. Something bad has happened in my family. It's a little bit suspect, because this has happened many a times with me, with people of my own faith.
Or a last minute cancellation.
Yep, last minute cancellation. And you only have to look at the numbers. Since my breakup a couple of months ago, I've been on a dozen dates or something like that. And, most of them, apart from two, have been people from other religions. So it doesn't seem to work. And it kind of tells me that they are judging you on status, because one person I matched with who was of the same religion, she was stupid enough to spell it out and say that you're not for me because you've got less than 200 followers on Instagram and you follow 1,200 accounts, so your profile's suspect, but take care, see ya. So I bluntly put it, you got 14,000 followers, you think you're famous, you're just a cheap fucking knockoff. That's basically what I told her, and she should go and date influencers and go on that app where it's for influencers and wannabe celebs only, and you get on the waiting list. And needless to say, she matched me because she got a taste, unmatched me and deleted me because she got a taste of her own medicine. But she was stupid enough to spell it out. At least the others are a little bit smarter, and they just don't say anything at all and don't tell you why they're doing it. But I can tell you now that she wouldn't speak to someone like that of a different religion, because she'd probably be too scared, not having that familiarity and thinking, well, they could, chase me if they saw me in the street. They could stalk me. You can look people up by getting their photos, putting it into facial recognition. For all you know, they could have screenshotted her before she would have unmatched them. But I know a few people who, they're only interested in someone if they're a face of a particular community or particular area. And this person has been on dates with people from Made in Chelsea, the sons of ex-footballers, but at least she's honest about it and doesn't mess people around who she considers nobody. She won't even give them the time of day. But people have come to me, they've matched with my profile. I've not come to them first. When I've swiped right, it's resulted in the match, which means they liked me before I liked them. And they're just kind of dangling the carrot in front of the horse's nose and teasing. And people of my own religion have done that more than people who are not of my religion, because they kind of want to judge you and see where you are on the social ladder. But I think the social ladder, it doesn't exist. It's all in their mind. It's what they perceive to be the norm, but it's just all in their head, because there's no right or wrong in how to socialize and what what you should be as a person. I mean, what says it all is that I know it's too much information, but I've never had intercourse with someone of my own religion because they don't want it. Equally, it can happen on the other side with our religion, where men have messed women around because of the same reasons. And when I talk to men of my own religion, all they can ask me, do you know this one? Do you know that one? And then talk about that person like I'm supposed to know them and go on for ages. And you can't really get a rapport going with them because that's all they're interested in. So it takes two to tango, as we both stress. Also, I think they'd be scared due to fear of the unknown, in terms of messing people around. But the irony is that someone who disagreed with the political aspects of my religion still wanted to meet me, and they subsequently did. And this person was of a different religion. Whereas people of my own faith who share the same or similar political views and should surely be a good match and compatible don't want to know me. This girl was the only person who called my name out. People of my own religion are scared of me, pussies. So, as well, the numbers are not always on your side. And that's the problem. You're looking for a needle in the haystack, especially if you're a minority, which Bradley and I are in the UK. So there's only a couple of 100,000 of us, yet there's 80 million other people who are not of our faith. How can parents expect their children to meet someone of the same religion in these circumstances? It's just very unlikely. And not all a couple of hundred thousands of these people are single or are the same age as us. And that was someone I know said that as a response when some idiot I know was telling everyone, yeah, my kids are sorted because they're both marrying people of the same religion. I just think it's a load of nonsense. What does it even mean? It doesn't make them better people. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be happy. But I think the pressure that these parents put on their children and that some of their friends put on them is very unfair. Like, for example, I know someone, he's like a mini Hitler. Who do you think you're kidding, Mr. Hitler? So when he asked me if I've been dating people only of the same religion, I said no, I've dated people of all faiths, and he starts having a go at me. He was dismissive, he was criticizing me, saying we should stick together, we're the best religion. To me that sounds like Hitler, because it's like the Aryan race is the master race, and he's equally saying, well, our religion is the master religion, and trumps over any other. He starts slagging off people he used to know, who he knew, who were of his religion and married outside, saying they're a disgrace and they tarnish our reputation. And I'm thinking, what a Nazi! That's what Hitler would have wanted. So the eugenics, selective breeding. Whilst I don't mean to trivialise what the most evil person in history did, that's kind of, there were echoes of that. He even suggested, when I mentioned the numbers were not on my side, he suggested that I move country. Why the hell am I going to move country just to meet someone, when I've got a perfectly good life here in terms of job, home, family, activities? And the only thing that's missing from my life is a woman, but that will come in time. But it's going to take a lot longer if I'm trying to look for someone of my own religion when we're very scarce in this country. Some would argue that I should become ultra religious and observant because they're saying this problem only happens in secular parts of the religion. But I don't believe in arranged marriages because you're not getting who you want. They're picking the person for you. It's not like when you go on a dating app, you can choose who you're with. If you go out to a club or a bar, you can say, I want to talk to this one, I want to talk to that one, I don't want to talk to this one. And I'm certainly not changing my lifestyle just for that, as I do believe in sex before marriage. And I don't believe in having sex just for the sole purpose of procreation. I also believe that sex is for physical pleasure. And believe me, I need it with my naturally high levels of testosterone. I tell you now, I may be approaching 30, but at heart, I'm a horny teenager. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. And as well, having to cover up. And I don't believe in censorship. When I'm on holiday or if it's a hot day, I want to take my top off and show off my love handles. And equally, my woman, whoever that's going to be, I want her to flaunt her sexuality and not be afraid to show herself off. What do you think, Bradley?
I totally agree. I just be yourself, and if you want to do, just do what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't believe in censorship because it flies in the face of democracy and liberalism. So I don't think you should have to change your lifestyle just because someone's putting you under pressure. It's just unfortunate that secular people of my religion are very difficult punters and always think the grass is greener, and it's not true love. They're only after you for what they can get. They just want to be with popular people or someone who's a face because they want to maintain their reputation or enhance it. And to me, they're just users, and that's going to result in a very quick divorce if it even gets to marriage, and they're going to take you for everything you have, and you don't want that. I think there's a lot of issues with families who dismiss their children's partners for not being of the same faith, despite having desirable human qualities. So, for example, you get parents who would probably prefer it if their children were with someone who was nasty, abusive, everything you don't want in a person. But as long as that person is of the same religion, then it's okay, everything goes. But then on the other side, you could get someone who's of a different religion, absolutely lovely, has desirable human qualities, but the parents don't want to know that person just because of religion. I think it's more important you're with someone who's nice and makes you happy. The reality is that you're not going to meet the right person if religion is your only criteria. If you're ultra religious, then fine. If that's what you want to do, then okay. It may be easier, especially in my religion where people are more orthodox. You get your partner chosen for you, and these people marry at very young ages, and some of them in their late teens. But people of my religion who have been together for a long time, a lot of them I just think are together because it would mean breaking up would be much harder, and they'd have to wait even longer to meet someone else of the same religion because of how scarce we are. And they just stay together out of convenience, but they're not necessarily happy together. And the ones who are getting married, most of the people within the religion have been together since their school days or since their late teens. But if you're not one of them, I think you're wasting your time, especially if you're secular and all they care about is reputation, the few that are available. So I think if you're not in that category, then you're going to have a very hard time, and you should broaden your options and look for people of other religions. Because if you're secular anyway, religion clearly can't be that important to you. It's kind of a bit of a contradiction. You're kind of saying, well, when it suits me, I'm religious. When it comes to who my children end up with, but to me, I think that's a bit of a contradiction. It's not very fair, especially in this world when it's hard enough to meet people because of social media, people being more selective, thinking the grass is always greener and changing their mind at the 11th hour. And people think it's cool to be flaky as well and not give straight answers, but I just find it darn rude. But I think, as long as the person's nice and they've got good human qualities, religion shouldn't come into it, especially if you're not particularly observant. I mean, what would you prefer, Bradley?
I would prefer, like you said, I would prefer if I met a nice girl and they're not my religion, I wouldn't care less. If they were nice and they cared for you and there's a two-way relationship, I wouldn't care less if they were my religion or not.
I agree with that. I also think it can only do good because it's encouraging religions to integrate. And as it is, there's enough tension out there between religions, which often leads to these horrific wars where there's persecution of one religion because it's like it becomes win-lose. One religion has to win over another, but make it win-win where religions can coexist. If you can do that within families, you could do that within the world, and it would be one step closer to world peace. And I think it's good to embrace different cultures as well. Whilst I'm not Christian, I did have a Christmas tree in my place this year, and it was really lovely. I decorated it,
I have a
put the
Christmas
lights
tree as
on.
well.
There you go. So
Christmas lights on my house.
I love Christmas.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice to.
And everyone celebrates Christmas, no matter what religion you are.
Yeah, it's true.
Everyone celebrates Christmas.
So why are you going to complain if you're of one religion, say, and your child marries someone who's Christian, for example, or Muslim or Catholic? It's nonsense because you're only letting religion get in the way. It's not who they are as a person. And people wonder, will the child be lost in their identity? What's wrong with being an adherent of different religions?
It's all politics.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. Because actually, it's good to learn about other religions. It makes you sort of a more knowledgeable person, more understanding of why different cultures do different things. And you grow up with the best of both worlds. A lot of famous families do it, like in America. There's lots of couples who are of different religions, and these celebrity couples, their children they follow parts of both their parents' religion. And I think that's really nice to be able to integrate. And if you can do that from a young age, the world would be a better place. There would be less hatred and more understanding of others. And you wouldn't have all this rivalry between religions. You want to bring people together. And I think it comes from all the way from raising your children in their childhood. But if you're saying they can only marry one kind or someone of their own kind, you're kind of keeping them in the bubble, and you're not letting them explore the big world out there. And all these people who have been together, since their childhood, they've never really experienced dating like other people have, where they've had different partners and they have a better idea of what they want. They're just staying with someone because it's convenient and because they're scared of being on their own. I don't think a lot of them are doing it for the right reasons. What do you think, Bradley?
It's a tough one. It all depends. It depends on every person has a different view. So it's. But I do agree with you. I think that. I mean, every person. Yeah, like I said, every person has a different opinion, different view. Some people might want to be with a person who's not of their religion, but some people might want to. So it all depends on what people want.
It is, but my message would be, if you want to be with someone of the same religion, we're not necessarily going to criticize you for it.
No.
But if you're in minority, especially, and you're struggling to meet someone when your religion is, scarcely populated within a particular part of the world or all over the world, don't complain if you're struggling and if your religion's not treating you very nicely, because there's a big world out there full of amazing people. And you could meet, you don't know, there could be someone out there who is the person of your dreams. They've got everything
Who's
you want.
not the same religion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you could be missing out on the best option. So my advice is to keep your options open. Especially if religion is not that important to you. Don't all of a sudden become ultra religious for that reason. Be who you are. If you're secular, be secular. If you're super observant, be super observant. Be consistent, and don't sort of inconvenience yourself.
And also, you never know, because I know a few people of my friends who have actually met someone who's the same religion as us, and the other person who's not the same religion has converted to that religion. And there's a lot of people nowadays who actually convert to another religion.
Whilst that is a good point, they shouldn't feel pressurized to do that.
No.
And the parents shouldn't be saying, if you meet someone who's not of the same religion, they're going to have to convert.
No.
It shouldn't be win-lose. It should be win-win. So
no, but it's up to the individual.
Yes.
If he or she wants to, without being pressurized,
yes,
then it's up to them. If they actually want to convert without anyone actually telling them to, then it's their choice.
Yep, I agree with that. Well, that concludes the finale of Broflation, the limited season 1. And thank you for being so tolerant and putting up with us. We hope that we didn't cause too much offence from this episode.
And if you're lucky, we might just do one in the future. We might put a little something together. Either something completely different, or we'll see. We keep it as a surprise.
Yeah, we've not. All will be revealed.
Yeah.
We haven't decided yet whether there's going to be a second season, but we'll never say never, and we're not going to close the lid completely. So you've been a great audience, and we'd like to thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
And enjoy dating.
Yes, good luck out there.